My name is Sinalom Kaza. I'm the founder of Beauty and Braids. And Beauty and Braids is a consolidated e-commerce marketplace specializing in braids, all things braids. So braiding products, accessories, tools that seek to elevate the braiding experience and make a wider product range accessible to the informal hair care market, as well as Black women who braid. Basically, we're also building a supportive network where we will upload tutorials, quick tutorials that women can use at home to kind of guide them to braid at home, as well as developing a sustainable eco alternative to synthetic hair called Inwele, which will be made from a natural fiber, and we'll be using a cradle to cradle production cycle. So everything that the fiber is extracted from the plant will be utilized, and we'll develop a whole product range that uses the core elements of everything that composes the plant leaf and the fiber. So yeah, that's what the venture is.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Sinalo. We really appreciate you taking the time out. So to jump right into it, we just want to find out, so far in your journey, tell us a little bit about that, specifically concerning some of the highlights of your journey so far in the venture building process, post the ETAP program.
So post the program, I've done a lot of work in terms of figuring out my logistical structure and how that's going to work. I also managed to get someone to partner with me. So I managed to get a business partner who will be running the operational side of the business. And she's got a whole lot more experience than me. So that's been great. And then I've done a lot of work with the fiber. I managed to get a prototype of the fiber, the Inwele fiber. And yeah, I'm looking to kind of do more development in that regard. And also, I kind of have consolidated my product range. So I'm literally ready to launch.
Awesome. So in terms of sort of the critical or key points of your journey that were the most rewarding or perhaps surprising, can you tell us a little bit about that?
I think when I had this idea and then I managed to find this, the venture launch accelerator kind of link, and they were recruiting the cohort, and I applied, and it was kind of just like an idea that I had. And then throughout the process, I kind of got exposed to the whole ecosystem of a startup and kind of all the different elements that one needs to implement and utilize in order to have a holistic, sustainable ecosystem that the business runs under, was very empowering to me, because I felt like I was exposed to a lot of things in depth that I wouldn't necessarily have been exposed to if I was on this journey by myself. So the support kind of gave me a lot of guidance and confidence in pursuing this venture. And then also at the end of the journey, when I got awarded Most Promising Brand, that was like really affirming for me and validating. So that's kind of given me the affirmation beyond the ideation stage, and kind of seeing that other than the people that I have spoken to who see value in what the business has to offer, but also there is a network of credible individuals, professionals, a whole ecosystem structure that has given me the thumbs up. So that's kind of been like, hell yeah, yeah, you can do this. Yeah.
That's great. And in terms of some of the challenges that you face so far in venture development, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So for me, I think one of the challenges that I'm facing is kind of figuring out critical path and kind of like, excuse me, kind of like a workflow for all the different departments and divisions that play into the Beauty and Braids brand holistically. So building the right team and finding the right people who are going to buy into the idea before we can, give them what they deserve in terms of remuneration is something that I'm still gathering the courage to kind of approach more people. So yeah, that's kind of been one of the biggest challenges. And I also think I'm still afraid to make financial mistakes. So I think that's quite, I wouldn't say holding me back, but I think it's quite a daunting kind of persistent fear, like, because I feel that I can't afford to lose anything.
Yeah.
So I'm being very calculated and strategic, but I also feel like I'm not going to be as risk averse as I'd like to be, but I'm working on it. So it's not the end.
Awesome. And I don't think that's completely like a bad thing. I think it's great that you have this great sense of duty and responsibility for the funds and the financing that you get. That's a really good quality for a leader to have. But obviously, entrepreneurs are sort of known for being more sort of risk takers and that. So I see where you're coming from. And I guess it's about finding that balance. So in terms of, you went through the whole E-Track program. Is there anything that you can look back on and say that you learned from the E-Track program and that specifically helped you in a very, very practical way post E-Track? So a learning that you may have taken that helped you to achieve a particular thing, or sort of guide you in the process of your venture building in a really practical way. If you could choose one thing from the E-Track program.
Choosing one thing is really difficult because there were, like, every week there was a teaching that was absolutely valid and necessary, It felt like a tutorial into the back end of the startup ecosystem. And at every week there was something that I was not necessarily aware of in the depth that it was taught in the lessons, and then also in the experiences that the other entrepreneurs shared. So for me, every week there was something that I was just like, wow, thank you. I didn't know that. I didn't know this. Oh, this is how it could work for me. But I think it's also the finances. I'm a creative, so it's also like the financial stuff and all the strategic, statistical, factual, iterations of the stages that a startup goes through and how to kind of prepare for the next stage of growth and what it means to bring in investors and take people's money on, and what does that obligate you? Because sometimes entrepreneurship is like fluffed and romanticized, no one tells you that, listen, when this happens, this is what you're going to do, or this is how you take care of it. People just expect you to know, and to kind of be exposed to that framework was quite a big lesson for me in planning forward, and also scaling and kind of seeing and projecting also realistically, and kind of, managing my expectations, but also having big audacious goals at the same time, because the potential is, unlimited. So that those have been my like big takeaways.
Okay, cool. And in terms of your advice to future E-Track cohorts, what would you say to them and advise them of?
I would say, don't take any lesson for granted. Show up every week as much as you possibly can, because the engagement in the lessons is also quite critical. And there's a lot of exposure that you get to other perceptions and other realities of other people who are also, doing amazing things and starting and building businesses. So I would say, don't take the lessons for granted, and use the resources that are afforded to you in the support structure. It's helped me gain a lot of momentum and kind of filter, the trajectory and what makes my venture unique, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, work on your imposter syndrome. That's all.
Solid advice. Thank you so much again, Sanala, for taking the time out to give us a bit of feedback in terms of where you are, and we definitely wish you all the best as you continue to grow and scale your business.
Thank you so much. Thank you.